The views and opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management.
Let's figure it out on the Archie Beslow radio show. He cares, he shares, he knows. The journey of our youth is in our control. So tell your family and tell your friends that the word on the street is we all should listen in. So let's figure it out on the Archie Beslow radio show.
Let's figure it out. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Easter. I know everybody else out here today getting their outfits laid out. All the little kitties are looking very cute and all that good stuff. But let's not forget about the purpose of the day. I mean, we should celebrate them every day, but this is a special day. It's funny. I always think back about how my grandmother, when I was a young age, she took me to this clothing store. It was in Norfolk, Virginia. I forget the name of the store, but it was funny. So my grandma was walking in this aisle, and she saw these light blue, sky blue pants. So at an early age, I'm like saying to myself, I hope my grandmother will walk past these pants. Well, lo and behold, my grandmother, God rest her soul, she said, baby, do you love these pants? I was like, sure, Grandma. She said, well, I think we should get these. I said, well, Grandma, we don't have to because I know that, we don't really have enough. No, if you like them, we're going to get them. Well, I could not tell my grandma, who I love dearly, that I didn't. Well, so long story short, I got the blue pants, and everybody and mother that when I was wearing them and had my little hard shoes on and my little white shirt, everybody was telling me how cute I look and all that. Whatever. But anyway, happy Easter. I hope everybody is safe. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves. Let's not forget the purpose of this day. I want to introduce my studio guest. I have in the studio with me today, I have my sidekick. We're going to call her Lady V, Miss Valencia. She's always on my hip. Always. That's my lady, my little sister. And also we have in the studio Miss Kelly. Kelly, say hello to the people that are listening on the radio. You can speak right in the mic, Miss Kelly.
Hello. Happy Easter.
Miss Kelly, you want to go? Yes, Miss Kelly. Look, everybody coming to the radio show. She was talking a whole of my head before we started. So anyway, we're going to get into it. So today's show is going to be about. So we'll do it this way. Women that have difficulty in having kids, and also there are women that can't have kids. So I want to thank Miss Kelly so much for actually coming in and sharing in this discussion with me, because like you guys know, my radio show is not, I'm not going to be careful with what I talk about because we don't live in a careful society. Right. If we're always careful, a lot of people are not going to be informed on what they really need to know. Yep. So hopefully by show's end, we're going to, actually help some folks get through what they're going through. Again, the radio show number is 1-800-450-7876. 1-800-450-7876. I'm gonna do something different. We're gonna go to the first call. Let's do it this way, because this person got up early in the morning and calling in the show right away. Who do we have on the line?
Good morning. My name is Nikisa.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. Now, what do we owe this wonderful call this bright early in the morning?
Well, Miss V and I go way back to at least high school, maybe before. And when she said that she was doing this show and she thought of me, I had set my alarm to get up at 6 a.m. in Seattle. So
awesome. Seattle, Washington?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So for all the 200,000 listeners that are listening to this show right now, can you what prompted you to call in reference to this particular topic? Let's start there.
Well, I actually have a slightly different story. I, to my knowledge, am able to have children. I just have chosen not to have biological children.
Yes, ma'am.
And I am over 40.
Yes, ma'am. So with that in mind, on your day-to-day, does it, when you see other moms and dads and families interacting with their kids, what are some of the things that you, if you had the opportunity, what kind of advice would you give them? So with my show, I don't come from a standpoint of, I come from a helpful standpoint. Now, like I said, your situation is your situation, but also know in everyone's situation, we all can help others. You feel me? So what advice would you give these moms and dads that you see often, you know, how they conduct their business with their kids?
Wow, that's actually a tough one because I see some very disturbing interactions between parents and children, to be quite honest,
Yes, ma'am.
in the world that we live in today, or what I would call just neglectful, or they're just kind of asleep at the wheel and the kids are kind of raising themselves. So I actually work in early education, early learning, the ages from birth to kindergarten entry, and that time period is one that is close to my heart because it's very crucial in a child's development.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is the time where I feel that parents should be interacting with their children. They should set that precedent for how they're going to interact with their children, how they're going to teach them. Just even engaging in conversation with their children can allow their brains to develop so quickly. They soak up that information at such a high rate during that time period. And so I think that one of the main pieces of information or a suggestion or advice that I would give to a parent is just to interact with your child. Teach them by just talking to them, showing them that you actually care. And as they get older, stop what you're doing if they need you or they need to, so that they know that they can always come to you and that they are your priority.
Right. So, and that's why I asked that question, because so I'm coming from a standpoint of, do you feel as though, and just to keep it real show, do you feel as though families that have kids, do you think that they take it for granted without even realizing that they're taking it for granted for those that can't have problems having kids and for those that really want kids, but they see so many bad examples of parenting that just like they don't even want to even deal with it, because it's like every day you see, and you guys can, you know how we do, we can always interact whenever you want to. We see so much, like you said, just disconnect with adults and kids. Yes. So, and I'm asking you and Miss Kelly, you know, how you guys feel about it. So, like Miss Kelly, she's in the studio herself, and she has difficulty with having kids. So, I think this is a very important topic because you guys come from a different aspect from how you can actually speak to the problems that we have with our children. So, Miss Kelly, you can at any time.
I think sometimes, just like anything else in life, we take things for granted when we have them, and when we don't have them, we more or less look at people that take those things for granted. The good thing about it, I do have great women around me that take great care of their children. But then whenever you look at the world and you see so many people leaving their children, being abandoned or killing their children, you know, I see so many stories of women killing their children, or even, you know, people that have adopted children, killing them, or babysitters or whatever. It saddens me because, you know, here I am, a woman that would love to just have a child and nurture a child. And it's like, you know what, if you don't think that you can handle the responsibility, give it to somebody like me. Or, you know, they have it now where you could drop the child off at the hospital. So things like that, you know, it saddens me because here I am, I feel like I'm such a nurturer, and I feel that I can give so much to a child, and then people do have children and then they do these ugly things to them. It's very saddening.
What? And I'm going to ask you both. What are some of the troubling things that you may hear from people that, you know, that since both of you ladies don't have kids? What are some of the troubling things that you hear from your peers? Miss, was it Nikisa?
Yes.
So yeah, you can start off. What are some of the troubling things that you hear? You know, women over 40 that don't have kids. What are some of the things, insensitive things that you hear from, you know, people?
So are you saying what they say to me, or what?
Yes, ma'am. What they say to you, or what they say to your girlfriend, or what you may have overheard.
Okay. So I also should add that my husband and I are strongly considering adoption, but we are fine either way. So I thought that I should say that to be completely transparent.
Yes, ma'am.
So some of the insensitive things people have said to me, I mean, from the time that I was 25, I would say, and definitely once I turned 30, it was like they pitied me.
Yes.
They didn't value so many of my accomplishments. I do a lot of community advocacy and volunteering, and like I mentioned, I work in the early learning field. I've worked in that field for over 10 years now, and I pride myself on being what I think a good person and a kind person, and it's like all of those wonderful accomplishments and positive personal attributes mean nothing because I don't have children. As if my value as a woman in particular, it does not matter because I've chosen not to procreate. However, those same women complain nonstop about their children, and a lot of times their children aren't doing anything extreme or horrible. It's just they're being children, and they have to take care of them as parents. And often they have partners to help them too. So it's not that they're drained because they're a single parent and they have to do it all by themselves.
All right,
it's
so
they have the children.
Realize
or they.
So, Miss Nikisha, no. So we about to go to a commercial break. I want you to stay. Yes, ma'am. I want you to stay on the line and don't lose that thought. All right. Okay. And thank you for your time.
Okay.
You're listening to WL 95.9 FM, 1450 AM, WLDCnews.com, where information is power. This is the Archie Beslow Radio Show. Let's figure it out. We'll be right back. All right, so like I said, we're still having the dialogue. That was pretty interesting, and I love it that this is like an important show to me. Yeah, I got my sister. My sister's she's not feeling well, y'all. We all know if V was 100%, V would have stolen money. But I'm thankful and grateful that she's here. But I love to hear from people that are actually going through it because. We live in a world that everybody takes everything for granted. Yeah. And the most things they take for granted are the small things.
Yes.
And we know the small things, they mount up.
Yes.
And that's where the depression come in.
Yes.
That's where the people get suicidal, all that stuff come in. Because now it's like, what I think is serious, you don't think it's serious.
Exactly.
Right. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's real difficult because with me, that's where I get it at. I speak to a lot of women who come to me who are extremely depressed, and the sad part about that piece is that most of the time they're depressed because of their support system not understanding where they're coming from or not being sensitive to what is sensitive to them. Mm-hmm. I'm a mother of 7, so people would look at me like someone that don't have kids. I would have no understanding with it, and I don't. I can't relate because I have children. However, I'm sensitive enough and compassionate enough to hear them out and to how can I help, you know? But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people instantly go to what's wrong with you or why wouldn't you want kids? Look around you. This world right now, a lot of people just don't want kids. Yeah. Even with my kids, I look at them like, as much as I love being a grandmother, I'm fearful for my children to have children.
That's facts.
I mean, I'm so serious, and I'm like, I have a granddaughter on the way. I just recently had a granddaughter. I'm like, I'm just like, I don't know. It's hard to move forward and teach your children about their children, raising them, because I'm prayerful that it'll get better, but realistically, we don't know.
Kelly?
Yeah, that is very true. I think for me, though, for many things in life, I did a lot of coping mechanism. So I kind of downplayed my feelings. Inside, I was very depressed. So I think sometimes people around me did want to help me, but I didn't even know how I wanted them to help me.
Okay.
You know, so it was more or less that I would just make it like, oh, it's not a big deal, when really it was a big deal. Or I would say things like, if I had children, I would be so much better in life. So I was a little different than a caller. I was more or less kind of like trying to downplay the situation sometimes because I was hurting.
Okay. You got you. Coming back. What's the lady's name? What's the lady? Nikisa. All right, welcome back. We're in the studio. I'm in the studio with Miss Kelly and Miss Valencia. I call her Miss V. And we still have Nikisa on the line. Nikisa, you still on the line? Ma'am? Yes, ma'am, you on?
I am.
Awesome. So, right before we left off, we was talking about just people taking it for granted. So, of course, when we went offline, we kind of got really into it. The whole thing, not being able to bear kids, having difficulties having kids, people that don't want kids. Then you deal with the adoption system. You deal with the foster kids. Some people, it's a very challenging situation on all fronts because then you pay the spiritual piece. Is it not meant for me to have a child?
Right.
Is somebody telling me that I need to be the spokesperson for the people that don't have the kids and realizing that, like, once again, that taken for granted word. So, Ms. Nikisa, can you speak to that? You know, could it be a message that maybe the calling for you both, and I know you say it's, you know, by choice, but is it you think it's a calling that, you know, your voice need to be heard?
Not necessarily. I would say for me, because I always knew that I was choosing this, and just also be completely transparent and say that at different points in my life, I have considered it. I've been, you know, partnered in a monogamous relationship for most of my adult life. So it wasn't that I didn't have a partner or things like that. I truly believed that there were already enough children in this world. And yes, I think some of the fact that I do a lot of advocacy work and community volunteering and organizing, that did play a role in my decision.
Yes, ma'am.
But also, I do want to adopt if possible, if that works out, because I do believe that like Kelly was saying, I am a nurturing person. I do have the love to give, and I have a stable home life, and I have the resources to raise a child. And I also have a strong village to help support me in that, and I think that also comes into play with the people who we may believe are taking it for granted, but maybe they're overwhelmed and they don't have the support that they need.
Awesome.
That's true.
All right, the call-in number is 1-800-450-7876. 1-800-450-7876.
Can I speak to the last?
I want you, always.
I'm sorry.
This is your show. Real talk.
I wanted to say, for me, for a long time, I was angry at God. I was upset. I was like, you know, how did you give me this nurturing spirit and you didn't allow me to have children? So for a long time, I went through a very dark place in my life, and I even tried to commit suicide, you know, because I just felt like I wanted this more than life itself. You know, I was one of those type of women.
Yes, ma'am.
Until, you know, maybe not too long ago, honestly, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, I said to myself, maybe, Kelly, your assignment is different.
Yes,
you know, maybe your assignment is not to physically bear children, but to, you know, help with other people's children. And I have done that in life. And, you know, sometimes that settles my spirit. Sometimes it don't. You know, sometimes I have my days where I see a child and I'm like, I want a child. But it has gotten better for me. I know at one time I used to go to support groups when I first had my miscarriage. And a lot of the women in there, you can see that without a child, life wasn't anything for them, you know, and it was so heartbroken. But because I do have a strong support system, and because I do know God, and I know that He wouldn't give me something and just, you know, make me feel so bad about it, that I think I got to a place of being okay with it to a certain extent.
Okay, I'm going to ask you both. And for the listeners that we have, what's your definition of of support. What do you think? So you guys are actually living it. So, and there are people that are listening to this show and that have family members that just they want to help, but they don't know what to say.
Yes.
Can you guys help my listeners? And what are some of the things that my listeners can tell their family members or even friends? You can go ahead, Nikisa.
Okay, so you mean support about the fact that I don't have children?
So yes, ma'am. You cover the angle of you not having it. Even the angle, because you sound like a very highly intelligent young lady, especially get up this early in the morning to come on my show. I love you dearly.
Thank you for calling me intelligent and young.
Yeah, there you go. hey, I'm a radio host. I know what to say. But no, it comes because you're on you guys are on both sides of the fence and you can speak to both. Right? Yes, ma'am. You can speak to both parts actually. So whichever side you choose to speak about is cool.
Well, I think that one thing that I would like to highlight and really give props to my mom about is that she said, I never want you to think that you need to have children from me. And she told me that very early on. Because like I said, I've gone back and forth with, well, maybe I will. Or maybe I just love my husband so much. I think it would be, awesome if we at least had one child together and things like that. But I think that has allowed me to move through my adult life as a woman with a measure of freedom that I see a lot of my counterparts don't have. And I do believe that a lot of women have children for other people. They have them because there is either unspoken that it's expected to produce grandchildren, or they are really pressured to have grandchildren, or they have them for their partner. And so I don't have that situation. When my husband and I first got married, he said that he wanted to have 3 kids, and I said, not for me.
Right. I get it.
3
He don't have to go through the pain, right?
It never was a forced thing. It was always, that would be nice. And he's also been whatever it is that will work for both of us, not just what he wanted. And now that we're in a different season of our lives, having 3 children is just not feasible in our minds. So that changed for him over time too. But I think my partner not pressuring me and my parents not pressuring me has allowed me that freedom. Like I said, I felt like that was very supportive.
Awesome. We're gonna switch to Miss Kelly. Then after Kelly, after you speak on this, then we're gonna go right to V, so V can talk to the depression piece about it.
I know for me, it's funny. Just yesterday, a friend of mine said to me, I said I was coming on the show, and she said, over time I noticed that you have gotten better as far as holidays and things like this. And she said, sometimes we felt really bad. And I said to her, why didn't you guys say anything to me? She said, well, we didn't know what to say. Okay. So that opened the door. And I told her, honestly, I said, sometimes just ask me, am I okay? Yeah. Nothing else. Or sometimes just say, you know what, I see you not coming over for the holidays. Is everything okay? And let me start the dialogue. Sometimes when people don't say anything, you think that they don't care. Right. But it doesn't mean that they don't care. Sometimes they just don't know what to say. Yes, ma'am. And like Nikisha said, my mother, she never pressured me either. My support system, actually, they always told me you would have a child. So I think they gave me hope. Okay. Sometimes I wish they weren't so hopeful because it kept me so hopeful. And it made me feel sometimes like, if they're saying it's going to happen. Yes. So I think for them, they didn't really know what to say or what to do. So they felt like, what, this is all we can give her. Right. So, sometimes I know situations are very delicate. Really just gauge the person that you're dealing with. See, kind of, go in a little bit, ask them, are they okay? If you see that they want to talk, allow them to talk. If you see that they don't want to talk, maybe just let them know, I'm here for you when you're ready to talk. I think the world are part-time carers. Yeah. I think the majority of people in society, we care on a part-time basis. If you are in tune with yourself,
then you should actually relinquish yourself to help others.
You're right.
So, and when I mean part-time, just like, for instance, a funeral. Don't go to a funeral and you tell the person, call me if you need me.
Right.
But when everything was well, you wasn't even calling the person.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so sis, speak to the depression piece.
The depression piece is, a lot of people don't understand that most people that are going through depression will sometimes need other people to say something to them for them to even realize that that's where they are. Most people that are depressed realize they're depressed, but sometimes they get so caught up in that state of mind that they don't realize that they're in a depression at that moment.
No, you good? So look, I'm gonna go. Hey, so my sister V, she would get it going. Let's take this commercial break. Nikisa, stay on. We're gonna come right back on the air with V when we come back. Also, don't forget, you can email me at archiebeslow@gmail.com if you ever need a good speaker to come out and speak at your functions or to talk to your kids. Again, that's archiebeslow@gmail.com. We'll be right back after these commercials. So,
No, you're right.
so we're still here. So V, by all means, you can finish your piece. But so you're saying you're right. What?
She's absolutely right.
Right.
Sometimes, for a long time, I didn't even know I was depressed.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't even know I was depressed until somebody said to me one day, like,
Make sure we come back with that.
what's going on with you?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Because everybody view it a certain way. Some people may look at it like I'm just in a funk and don't
That's
even
how I look
realize
at it.
you're always in that funk.
Yes.
You know, dang, I ain't even realized that I'm always there. But people from the outside, like, yeah, you've been there for a while.
Right.
And you don't know. But when people tiptoe around it and it's like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I don't know what to say. Like you said, just say, "Are you okay?"
Yes.
And that'll trigger something. Like, why she asking me if I'm okay?
Yeah.
Maybe I do need to look at myself and see I'm that person. I'll ask you quick, you good?
Right.
You know, everything okay?
So I'm gonna go deeper. So it's like, just think about it. As adults, we show signs of depressions, and other adults don't even interact with us.
No.
Think about how kids feel.
Right.
That's my thing.
A child. Real talk. A child is depressed every day at some point of their day.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
At some point,
Yes.
because our kids are always trying to figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I tell parents that all the time. Like, you cannot relate to your child this day and age. Their peers override us at any point. So at some point you have to, like, my husband and I had this debate all the time, and he'll tell me that I allow the kids to get away with too much. It's not that. It's just that I always remember that I was once their age. I don't walk around like just chastising them. You need to stop this. Don't do that. I wasn't raised like that.
Right.
So I don't do that to them. I remember, I was once their age too. And if I was their age, how would I feel if my parent is coming at me like that? I'm going to shut down.
Yeah.
I had children of my own that suffer with depression.
Yes.
So I'm not a stranger to it in my own home. And each child I have to deal with in a different way.
That's facts.
And it's not that I care for one more than the other. It's just that one at some point needs more attention than the other does at that particular point. So it's like you have to put your thinking cap on when it comes to having shit. It's so much deeper with people and kids. They don't understand.
V said a very valid point. We have to think.
Yes.
Stop talking
Yeah.
without thinking.
Thinking. Yeah.
If you're in a conversation, whether it be an adult or a child, say, "Give me a second to gather my thought," because the next thing that come out of my mouth, I want to make sure, not so much being right, but I want to make sure it's effective.
Yep.
Yes.
So we always want to talk to be politically, talk to be effective,
Right.
because you ain't gonna always be right.
Right. Right.
And I tell my children, my oldest son said to his girlfriend recently, he said, one of the things that my mother said to me that really stuck with me is that just because she's my parent doesn't mean she know everything.
Facts.
And it also doesn't mean she's always right.
Facts.
I tell my kids all the time, we learning together. I'm still learning. Y'all teach me just as much as I teach you. So when they come to me with stuff, I will tell them, all right, give me a minute.
Right.
And that's what they do. They give me a minute and then they come back and we discuss it. But I don't scream and holler. I just don't feel like it's a point. It's no point to it.
We all know that the Let's Figure It Out show is a solution show. Every Sunday, because I go back and listen to my shows, every Sunday there's some form of some type of solution that comes out of these shows. What I've learned dealing with mentoring kids and families, we get a lot of information, but we get so stubborn that we don't want to pass it on. We're gonna talk about that when we come back at there. That's what we're gonna talk about. All right, we're back. Miss Nikisa, you still on the line? You there?
Yes, I am.
Outstanding. I'm gonna send you a radio something trophy something.
Yeah.
Hey, I ain't big time, but I can't give you no tickets to.
No concert.
I can't do that yet, but but in all seriousness, I truly want to thank you. It's individuals like yourself and Kelly and V that come on these shows that are you use the word transparent a lot today, and I love how you segue into that, because a lot of people don't know what transparency means. They speak on it, they act like they know, but you feel me? But to truthfully be transparent, and you're speaking something that's near and dear to yourself, that speaks volumes to the kind of person you are, ma'am. And I just want to thank you. So,
Thank you so much.
not a problem. We're gonna pick back up on from the depression standpoint, and Miss V and also Miss Kelly, you guys had a very, very powerful dialogue. Once we left off of air about the depression. Yeah, we got that. That's very. So which one you want to go, V, or you want Miss Kelly? There you go. Hey, go ahead, Kelly.
Regarding depression, I think as me and Ms. V was saying, is that sometimes you don't even know you're depressed. You know, for me, I didn't even know I was depressed. You know, I was taught that depression looks like depression.
Right.
You know, you look disheveled. You don't look like yourself. So I was getting up, going to work every single day. I was functioning, but I was a functioning depressed person. Right. You know, I was walking, going through the motions, but at the same time, I was not doing anything, you know, and so I didn't really even know that I was depressed until, like me and Ms. V said, somebody asked me one day, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And then I had to take a step back and look at myself and say, a lot is going on, you know, and I had to realize that, like I was saying earlier, you know, my coping mechanism was just get through it. It's not that serious. You know, I always felt like I could get through it. I'll be fine. This too shall pass, and never really dealt with the situation.
All right, I'm going to give you both of you guys. Do you feel as though, I'm being transparent now, Nikisa. You ready? That's the word of the day, transparency. Now, do you guys feel yourself judging people, like judging couples, judging people's kids? We human. I judge. Don't make me a bad person, but hey, I judge. Nikisa, you want to speak on that? Do you judge like your family members or coworkers, or just? And I'm not even talking about from a. This is a broad question. Just period. Do you judge them, and do you think you're judging them because of the situation you chose to be in?
I absolutely do believe at times I have judged, particularly family members, because the ones who would have multiple children with no means of taking care of those children.
Preach.
And then and knowing that and having options to not continue to have 5 or 6 or more children. Not that there's a right number, but I definitely, and it was more from a feeling like people judged my husband and I, not necessarily in a negative way, but thinking that we must be rich because we have 2 full-time jobs and no children, and therefore it was
Perception.
responsibility to take care of their children.
Oh my God.
So it was, so, I mean, I think that yes, we can put the label judging on it, but there's so many. It's so multifaceted because it was, again, I did feel pressure about that. I felt, that it was unfair that people would even have the audacity to expect me to do that when I had nothing to do with their decision to have children when they couldn't afford them.
Amen. Kelly? Right, like, hey, put the boxing gloves on. It's okay.
I think she said it all. And when you said judge, at first I thought to myself, I don't judge, but we have to be honest. I have judged. I have judged people in the past. I may have judged people recently, and what she said is absolutely true. First thing people think is because I have no children, I have a lot of money. I don't have other responsibilities, and sometimes people will say to me like, well, you don't have any children, so you could do X, Y, and Z as you please. Mm-hmm. But I do have other responsibilities. Right. I have other things going on in my life, and no, I'm not taking care of a child, but I'm taking care of other things. Okay. So I think that's where people assume a lot, because you don't have children, you could do anything and anything you want. And I believe we all can do anything we want, with children or without children. And sometimes I say to a lot of people, don't count my money. Just because I don't have any children, don't count my pocket.
I can put some on it, but I ain't got it.
Right, exactly. It's like, well, Kelly could pay for that because she don't have children, and I feel like sometimes that's not fair. Right. And sometimes I feel, and for a long time I used to feel obligated because I don't have children that I can't help you, and I should help you. Okay. Until I realized some people I want to help you because I want to help you. It shouldn't be an obligation.
Okay. So I know my listeners are out there, and I know the question that all my listeners, because I'm a Scorpio, so we special. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I have ESP, not ESPN cable, but I have ESP. So, what are the pros and cons from you guys, and all three of you guys, as it relates to adoption? Or dealing with foster kids after you get to a certain age. So I know when you're younger, your mindset is you're going to nourish, and I always call it, when you're younger, you got a lot of recovery room. You can be like, I tried it, I did it, nah. But when you get older,
the urgency
sets in. So now, are you really, truly, you want to take on that responsibility to adopt somebody? And then it also depends on the age. Right. So we got to, I know I'm giving you guys a lot.
No, that's a great question.
So you answer the question that I asked, because I wasn't complete. I didn't complete my thought, but I knew where I was going with it. But we're going to let Kelly answer what she got out of it.
No, you are absolutely right. As I got older, it was an urgency.
Yes, ma'am.
And even the other day, I was talking to my mother about adoption, and before where I would have thought of possibly adopting a child as a newborn. Now I'm like maybe 5 or 6. Exactly. Not actually a newborn, a child that I could take with me on vacations and stuff. Not someone that that I have to wake up in the middle of the night and things like that. And I also think about my age. I'm 45, so by the time they're a certain age, how old would I be? Right. So I don't want to cheat them either. Right. So I look at a lot of things like that. I think that if you want to adopt, I think you need to be in a right mind frame.
Right.
I've thought about it before, but I don't fully know if I'm in the right mind frame yet.
Right.
Financially, I think I'll be fine, but I also want to. I have some selfishness now at my age, so I have to be honest. Yes, I have some selfishness where I like to get up and do what I want to do and go where I want to go. So I contemplate back and forth. I think it's an excellent thing for people to do it.
Yes.
But I also think you have to be in the right frame of mind. I think sometimes that's why we have these hiccups where people are adopting children and then they're doing things to them because they're not fully ready.
They're not ready.
You need to be counseled. You need to, when I decide to make that decision, I want to go to a counselor. I want to talk, and I want to talk.
You got to evaluate yourself. You got to,
yes, to make sure that this is the right thing that I'm doing.
Miss Nikisa?
Never you had kids, period.
Yeah.
What your pro exactly.
You're right.
Pros and cons to adopting.
Yeah.
I don't know you guys' age, so I'm not gonna say your age, but I'm just saying, you know, there's a different mentality when you're younger opposed to when you get a little older.
Yeah, I'm glad that I did not even start thinking about adoption until I was about 35 years old, because I personally believe that I was a lot more self-aware. I had done a lot of the things that I wanted to do, and I just knew myself very well, and I also had the resources. I didn't make enough money in my 20s to take care of myself and another human being, and now, so I feel a little differently than Kelly does about the age of the child. I do want to adopt an infant right from the hospital.
Awesome.
And I will, if we adopt, it will be adoption and not through the child welfare system, because that is riddled with so much dysfunction and issues. And I am very aware of the fact that I am not 20, and quite frankly, I just don't want to get up in the middle of the night all the time if I don't have to.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I do work full time, and I won't be a young mom. So I have, saved my resources and gathered my support system where my mom is going to come out for a certain amount of time, and my dad and other family members, to get us through those first 2 years with extra support. And I have budgeted in a night nanny. So
I know that's right.
I want to do that so that I can make sure that I am rested and I have everything that I need to fully function, because one of my main priorities in life is self-care, and I truly believe that if I am not cared for, I am not going to be able to care for anyone else. And I have practiced that my whole adult life before even having children. So I feel that I am very well equipped to continue that, and I know the importance of that. So I have friends, family, and I will have my night nanny that will help me caretaking in the middle of the night. So, and I do think about my husband and I'll make this last point about what Kelly said about how old will I be when my child is 21 or 25, and will I be able to go with her wedding dress shopping, or do travel with her, or do things like that. And the only thing I can say about that is that we are living longer as humans in this world than we ever have before, and I just try to do what I can to take the best care of myself, and I think that I focus on that even more because I've chosen that I've decided that I want to adopt a child where I may have taken some health things for granted or not fortified myself on a daily basis because I wouldn't have someone depending on me when I get older, as I will if we adopt.
Well, let me just say something real quick. Nikisa, I am so proud of you.
Amen.
That's one of my mentees. I am a proud mentor right now.
I love it. we in this joint doing the hee-haw, the
I'm
huckleberry.
so proud of you.
Hey, this
Thank you, Valencia.
and V is right. We can't, and once again, that comes from people actually on your heart wanting to help somebody to be better.
Yeah.
So V come from a place just like myself, and just like even with you ladies now that's on this call, you're coming from a place where you're not being selfish.
Right.
Because you guys didn't have to come on air today to talk about this. And I'm quite sure there's a lot of healing involved, because when you talk about things, it does actually heal you.
Yes.
And then healing comes from actually getting your word out and then realizing, hey, this is me, and I'm quite sure there's thousands of other people that are out there doing the same thing.
Yes.
So I'm gonna come from a male's perspective. So now I have sons, and I have like maybe 400 goddaughters.
400.
You feel me?
You beat me.
Right. Now everybody love Coach Joshua. But my point is, that kind of bothers me. It kind of bothers me every now and then. I love my sons, but it's like I wanted a daughter. You know, why didn't I have a daughter? So now I'm saying that's not fair to me. I wanted to do, you know what I mean? So it's not just the ladies that are going through it. It's the men that are going through it as well.
Absolutely.
And from different standpoints. And it's like a mom or a dad who may have had miscarriages. You know, so it's the window of with this conversation is huge. And Miss V always said there is going to be a part 2 to this conversation. Because, you know, we want the men to talk about it as well.
Definitely.
Because, and like your husband, Nikisa, you give him a family hug for me as well, because you guys have it together, and it sounds like he's a very supporting dude. And at some point, I'm gonna get with V, and I'm also gonna have your husband call in as well, because if you can wake up at 0:30 in the morning, my man can do the same thing.
Oh yeah, he loves He listens to the podcast in the morning.
Love it.
We're diehard Washington D.C. people.
Love it. Love it. So we let's do this. I always like to do this, and we're gonna start with we're gonna do Kelly since Miss Nikisa is so far away. If you had a magic wand and you could bring change to this entire situation, what would you do with that magic wand?
Yeah,
Take your time.
That's a tough one. If I could bring change to the entire situation.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
And I asked this question, and I'm stalling to give you a little bit of chance to think about it, because we all often want change in something.
Yes.
It's like people want to be rich, but they don't want to work hard to get the money.
Right.
You know, people want to lose weight, but they keep eating Twinkies and you know what I mean, and Swiss rolls. But if the man above came down, stood beside you right now, my sister, I'm only here for 2 seconds. What can I do for you right now? And if you don't answer that in 2 seconds, he's going to go back.
Yep.
And I say that not to pressure people, but you have to always really know what you want at that moment.
People got to think. That's it. That's what I would say.
You feel me? So we go ahead. Yes, ma'am. Now go.
I think for me, the biggest reason why I wanted to do the show, so I guess that would be what I would want the solution to be, is to bring awareness.
There you go.
That's the biggest thing. To bring awareness, to talk about it. Certain things are unspoken.
Yes, ma'am.
It's like, you know, we speak about diseases, you know, cancer and stuff like that. But something like this, I think people didn't really talk about it until, like I was telling you earlier, Gabrielle Union, she has a book. And Tracy Ellis Ross, she set a platform where she talked about being over 40 and being and not having a child. So just bringing awareness that, you know, this is so many people out there, just like you said, men. I've encountered men on a daily basis that don't even have children.
Yeah.
That's 50
That's gonna be
and
another
older.
topic. That's gonna be something,
and you know, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
It's like we're community.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yes,
have to
ma'am.
think about it. So
Yes, ma'am.
just really bringing awareness and having some type of support that, you know, it's okay. Or just bringing awareness to the, like we were saying, the support that you may have around you.
Okay.
Just letting them be able to be a support system to you, and letting them start the dialogue.
Okay.
You know, where we're having a dialogue like this amongst ourselves,
Yes, ma'am.
and, you know, nobody is feeling a certain way, because then maybe we can eliminate not so much of the depression part of it, but in some ways don't allow it to get to the depression part, if I could say that. So kind of eliminating the depression, because sometimes it's just having the right systems and the right support around you where you don't feel like you're alone.
Okay.
So the awareness.
All right.
More than anything.
Miss Nikisa, I threw the magic wand about an hour ago. It should be landing right now.
Help me out. Help me out.
You got the wand in your hand, ma'am.
So if I had a magic wand, it would be similar to what Kelly said, because I was thinking that you were asking us if we had a magic wand, what would we change about the situation for ourselves?
Let's go with that one. Now answer that one.
There's nothing that I want to change for myself because my life is exactly how I want it to be. And
Amen.
I work so that it is like that and it stays that way.
Yes, ma'am.
But I would like for, because there's a stigma about depression in general in our community, in the African American community, and I would like for when you layer on the not having children piece, that makes it even more complex, I feel like, and even more of a stigma because of some people's feelings about it. So I would like for people to not feel like there's something wrong with them or that they can't admit that we have to be strong all the time, especially as Black women.
Yes.
Because it's not that you're not strong. It is that you're a human. So I would like for that to be kind of eradicated from people's minds. I also would like for other people to not be insensitive, to not discount who that person is and what they're bringing to this world, period, whether they have a child or not. What are they doing in helping our society? What are they doing to be a good human being or to care for others or even just be care for themselves so that they're not a burden on someone else? So that's what I would like to take the magic wand to make those things be better.
Man, happy Easter. God don't make mistakes. No. Whether you believe in God, Jehovah, Allah, whoever, hey, I'm thankful. I can't be remiss if I don't thank the good Lord and Savior for giving me this platform, giving me a radio show to reach the masses. All my life I've been a giver. And I pride myself on being a giver because I received so many blessings on countless days. And I want to publicly thank him because without him, I wouldn't be me. I tell people all the time, I live to this day, I'm 50, I live to this day to impress my mom every chance I get. And I always want to do right by God. I want to do right by my peers. Am I perfect? No, I'm not. But my imperfections helps me to become a great man. Yes. Because when you can self-check yourself and you can still get validated by God to give you purpose and to give you meaning so that you can go into your life with your chest sticking out even in your imperfections, that in itself lets you know that you love your Creator more than anything in the world.
Yes.
I got a little sentimental. That's what I do. I look at, hey, I was telling B, you feel me? Hey, but
Can I just say one more thing?
No, you can say it, girl. You woke up at 3 o'clock. You can say what you want to say.
I need to say one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
That is to the ladies who have chosen not to have children.
Yes, ma'am.
It is okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Perfect.
Powerful.
Yes, just the way that you are, and that does not define you or your worth in this world.
All right. Well, I got my superstar engineer Tiny. I always got Tiny. I get Tiny to look like she Kiki Shepard from Apollo, Live at Apollo. But yeah, my show has come to a close. I want to thank you so much. Thank you so much, and for coming on, Kelly. I want to thank you so much. V, I definitely want to thank you so much, and I want to thank my listeners for believing in me and for supporting me on my show. This is the Archie Beslow Radio Show. Let's figure it out. You listen to WL 95.9 FM, 1450 AM, WLDCnews.com. Information is power. My man Butch McAdams is coming up next. The coach. Listen to the coach because the coach is always saying something enlightful. Talk to you guys. Love you. Peace.
Always do. Yeah.